right, welcome back on the program. Talking local government autonomy at the moment. The struggle for local government autonomy is fast cascading into a major political and legal battle in Nigeria as the federal government and state government have begun a legal firework at the Supreme Court over this particular development. A 7-man panel of justices of the Apex Court, led by Justice Garba Lawal, has begun to set up to do justice to this dispute. Recall that the federal government has dragged the state governors to court seeking full autonomy for the 774 local government areas in the country to boost their efficiency. Now, Nigerians await with bated breath for the outcome. And joining us for this discussion is the former executive chairman, Karu local government area of Nasro State. I'm talking about Akala Samuel. A very good morning to you, and many thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to join you this morning.
Local government autonomy at this time is something that is crucial. The state governors and the federal government are on a legal battle concerning this particular development. What do you make of this at this time?
Well, for me, I keep maintaining that it is a needless legal battle because the Constitution is very, very clear. You will recall that the governors will always tell you that they don't tamper with the funds of local government. They don't tamper with the affairs or the administration of local government. But you will wonder, what will the state governors, what will the 36 states be joining issues on this matter? The matter that is before the Supreme Court by the Attorney General of the Federation is simply that of interpreting the law and let the law take its course. So for me, this is a needless legal battle. I would advise that the state governors allow the Constitution to take its course. The Constitution makes it very clear that there is no provision for caretaker committee, administrator, or whatever name you may want to call it. The Constitution guarantees successive elective officials at the third tier of government. Therefore, we wait and we will see what the governors really, through their councils, will be telling Nigerians at the Supreme Court, because that will now define their position about the affairs of the local government councils in Nigeria.
And despite the fact that the Constitution provides for the existence of a democratically elected government, ahead of the hearing on the 13th of June, a particular state has filed an objection to the suit, saying that the federal government has no legal right to sort of intervene in the agreement between the state and the local government. You are not a legal practitioner, so I do not expect you to provide an answer whether the federal government has a right to this. But you were a former chairman. Talk to us about your experience as regards running the local government, and if the lack of autonomy really affected the quality of service delivery to the people.
Yes, I'm not a legal practitioner, but I can tell you for sure that the Attorney General of the Federation has the legal right to seek for proper interpretation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria where there are infringements on the Constitution. And again, I can confirm to you as a former local government chairman, there is no agreement whatsoever between the state governors and local government councils in Nigeria. What has been happening is just the governors, through the state houses of assembly, leveraging on some provisions of the Constitution where it allows the State House of Assembly to tinker with the laws of the local government in terms of the administration, the funding, and what have you, and then they take over the affairs of local government, usurping the powers of the local government. And that is why, even where the Constitution provides that the local government is guaranteed democratically elected officials for 3 years, you will see that the governors through the assembly, because they control the entire assembly, They asked the assembly to make laws for caretaker committee. They asked the assembly to make laws for the tenure, reducing, in some cases, reducing the tenure to about 1 year, some 2 years, you know. And then, of course, some governors can serve their term without even conducting a local government election. Therefore, for me as a local government chairman, when I was there, I can tell you that the election that brought me to office wasn't a perfect election, wasn't competitive, because my opponents were not given the fair deal to play their part in the election, because the election is conducted by the state electoral body that is a creation of the governor and the assembly. So where elections are not conducted by the federal INEC, I can guarantee you just some kind level of selection. And that is why wherever you see elections are conducted for local government in various states, the party the governor spearheads wins everything. When I mean everything, the chairmanship and councillorship. And that is why the local government has nosedived, has not been functioning effectively, and I can assure you that is why most of the developmental programs, be it for the federal government and state government, cannot have impact on the citizens of the country, because everyone resides in the local government. And those nerves that are supposed to hold forth those developmental indices are weak. Those are the small and medium-scale enterprises that are domesticated in various local government. No citizen of this country resides in the federal government or local government. I can tell you the local government is actually supposed to be the strongest tier of government, but it has been abandoned and reduced to an appendage of the state by the state governors. So it's unfortunate that this narration is coming at this time and governors are still sticking their neck to hold tight to the affairs of local government. This is highly unfortunate, but I commend the federal government and the Attorney General of the Federation for this bold step they are taking to free up the local government.
Interesting development there. Let me take you back to your earlier statement saying that the election that brought you into power is not that free, fair, and credible. But why didn't you step down as at that time if indeed you have the intention to serve your people at that time? But that is number one. Number two, what is this local government autonomy and what will this bring on board to the people at the grassroots?
Well, yes, I agree that the election that brought me to office wasn't fair and credible because the opposition parties were not given a fair deal in the election. But I did not step down because I needed to change certain narratives about local government administration. So I took the opportunity, became Karo local government chairman, and then you can find out Google about my term as local government chairman in Karo local government. I was adjudged about the best local government chairman in the States. And I made a lot of reforms ranging from IGR to how the local government is supposed to service the people and ensure that the local government becomes effective. I was able to interface with international NGOs and what have you to bring the local government to life again. You know, so I took advantage of that opportunity just to change certain narrative about local government. And that is why I took that opportunity and I never resigned, you know. So it wasn't the best option for me to resign. The option was for me to show that local government can function effectively again. And about the autonomy of the local government we're clamoring for is, one, let the local government exist as a third tier of government. For now, it does not exist as a third tier of government. For now, it exists as an appendage of the state. Therefore, once local government autonomy is granted, one, the funds of the local government will be sent to the 774 local government accounts directly from the FAC account. And then the federal INEC will take over the elections for local government council. By that, you will find competent leaders emerging. Yes, there is no perfect election wherever. But you know, when INEC is the one conducting this election, it gives some certain confidence to the communities and the localities, citizens of that locality, to elect leaders of their choice. So whatever manipulation that may come from either the state governors or certain stakeholders, where there are a lot of agreement on a certain individual in a community, it will be difficult for anybody to rig the election, thereby producing competent leaders who understand what it means to administer the top tier of government. And then, of course, it keeps the local government active. And then small and medium-scale enterprises will be stimulated, and they will be active again. It will also address this rising insecurity that the country has been battling with. All this clamoring, all this conversation about state police and what have you, it is not the answer. The answer is autonomy for local government, where the local government will be strengthened to interface with the communities directly. I hope we all know that the essence of the third tier of government is bringing government closer to the locals, where the people reside. This is where every Nigerian resides, live and do business. We should not only be interested in going to the community where we need their votes. They tell you that the politicians will tell you that politics is local. So they only remember the locals during the election when they need the figures to get the votes into their office. But when it comes to strengthening the existence of those communities, it's abandoned. Therefore, the local government autonomy is basically to address this issue. So the issue of recruitment into the third tier of government will be addressed. For now, there seem not to be any local government councils in Nigeria. Governors can only tell you what they want to say, but I can assure you, as one who has been there, the local government has nosedived and Nigerians have lost confidence in this third tier.
INEC start conducting local government elections in the country. Is that not too cumbersome for them at this time? They are not done with the national elections. Bringing INEC to start conducting, where lies the role of the state electoral commissions?
The state commission is an aberration. We're talking about a third tier of government. Why are we reducing the third tier of government to be a department of the states? We're talking about, we have 3 tiers of government. You have the federal government, the state government, and the local government. Why should INEC not conduct election into the third tier of government? Is the third tier of government inferior to other tiers of government? The answer is no. They are all tiers of government that should exist independently. INEC, they can conduct election. One of the days will be for the National Assembly and President. The second day will be for state governor, state assembly, and local government chairman and councillors. There is nothing difficult about that. So there is nothing to say that the INEC is
amending the constitution concerning this development. You are not constraining that.
Sorry?
You are not constraining the process in amending the constitution if you are recommending this.
Of course. If INEC today will have to conduct election, autonomy of the local government cannot be guaranteed with the present status of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There must be an amendment to the Constitution. That is when the autonomy can be guaranteed. Because as it is now, the current Constitution, as presently constituted, has provided for the state joint account, where funds accruing to 774 local government is paid into that account before it is distributed in the state. And that is why governors will appoint a commissioner for local government. That commissioner for local government is in charge of that state joint account. And of course, you know that the state joint account provision provides that when these funds come into that account, it's just a transit point for distribution. Then 10% of IGR generated in that state is paid into that account. So there must be an amendment of the Constitution by the National Assembly with concurrence for the State House of Assembly before the local government can have autonomy, and then INEC can come in and conduct election.
Let's also understand that these state electoral commissions are localized in the sense that they understand the terrain of each state, and that's why they're able to manage elections at every point in time. But that aside, if the federal government wins this case against the state government. How confident are you in the fact that some of the issues that we have currently at the local government level, such as rural urban migration and misappropriation, it will still not surface after they are granted financial autonomy?
Yes, as it is, if the federal government wins this case, what will change is that there will no longer be caretaker committees at the local government council. But the skewed election will still continue because this case wouldn't have ended the state electoral body, that's the SEC, you know. So they will still be conducting these elections. But the governors, what they want is that at their whims and caprices, they should decide whether they will conduct election or not. This case is to ensure guaranteed democratically elected officials, but it won't guarantee autonomy. But of course, like I tell you, there is nothing like the state electoral body understanding the communities. It is the same polling unit that INEC is using for this election that the state electoral bodies are using. It is the same register that INEC is using. The state body do not do voters registration at all. They use the register of voters that is registered by the federal INEC to conduct their election. So there's basically no need for a state electoral body. And I can assure you, once the federal government wins this case, there is going to be some seeming change in the administration of local government in terms of activities that will spring up. Though at the moment, the local government will still produce weak leaders because of the nature of their election, but there will be significant improvement in funding the local government because there will no longer be caretaker committees at that level of governance.
I like your agitation and the way you're talking about improvement, change, and all the likes. But you're not talking about how some of these local government officials will be prudent in spending this money when this money is transferred directly to the account. This is a germane question that Nigerians want to know. How prudent will they be?
The question of prudency is also linked to the quality of leaders you have at that level of governance. Are the governors prudent? That is the question. Are the National Assembly members prudent in managing resources at their disposal? Why should we gag the third tier of government in the names that maybe if funds are sent to them directly? Because that's the argument too.
Start shifting blame at the moment. This is an agitation that you are raising.
Yeah.
Accountable.
So what I'm trying to
Yes,
what I'm trying to say to you is that once funds are sent to local government council directly and there are democratically elected officials, recall that at the local government council there are legislative arm who are supposed to serve as checks on the executive of the local government. And of course the ICPC, the EFCC, and other bodies are there to also check the activities of local government. I can assure you there will be some level of prudency, there will be some level of deployment of these funds to activities in the local government where you can see young persons will be engaged in those activities and, of course, stemming the tide of insecurity. So I don't think the issue of prudency will be an issue that will make Nigerians and leaders in the country gag the third tier of government at all.
And some will argue that some security challenges like kidnapping, banditry that we see in basically the northern part of the country, part of the place where you were chairman, some of these issues will be addressed if the local government funds are put into managing the local governments. Let's not also forget that some of these areas still have a traditional leaders tussle at the moment. How realistic is this submission in the sense that if the traditional rulers who are sort of like more an extension of local government leaders to these people cannot manage themselves, how much more the local government leaders?
Having been in the local government council, it has been my considered opinion and firm belief because of my experience at the local government, that once autonomy is granted to the local government's funding is strengthened, it is basically going to address the issue of insecurity. Yes, the traditional rulers are there, but you recall, if you are aware of the composition and the nature of creation of traditional councils, they are created as an offshoot of the local government. They are also maintained by the funds of the local government. So when these funds are increased, you know, it is the local government that is directly in charge of the citizens of Nigeria. So they know who lives where. The traditional rulers, the chairman also know who the traditional ruler of every locality is. And the traditional ruler also have a structure. From the traditional ruler, you have the district head, the village heads, what we call the miangwas, the ward heads in various communities. So before anybody move into that community, this set of leaders are aware. So at this moment, all we need, once the local government is strengthened, it will empower the local government to now fund the activities of community leaders to ensure that they watch over their community. Every crime is committed in a locality. So local government is the battleground for those criminal activities. And the local government is overwhelmed. There's nothing it can do at the moment because there's no funding. That is the point. So the point I'm making is that once local government is freed up, is free from the current bondage it has found itself, it will now breathe and then have the capability of addressing rising insecurity. I guarantee you, if the local government is granted full administrative and financial autonomy, insecurity will be brought to the barest minimum.
Former Executive Chairman, Karo Local Government of Nasarawa State, Honorable Akala Samuel, many thanks for joining us on the program this morning.
It's my pleasure, please.
All right, up next is